Black Americans have been the only real diehard Americans here, because we're the only ones who carried the process through the process. That everyone else has to sort of like skip stages. We're the ones who marched. We're the ones who carried the Bible. We're the ones who carried the flag. We're the ones who tried to go through the courts. And being born American didn't seem to matter, because we were born Americans, but we still had to fight for what we were looking for. And we still had to go through those channels and those processes.
I don't really care what you have to say. Facts over fiction is the motto replay. Muhammad Ali came up from the clay. Grassroots built up this USA. Now knowing your history, you'll get played. Equip yourself, cause we came to slay any opponent that's up in our way. Look at Malcolm X and his delivery.
What is up, everyone? This is Eman, the Mass Media Group. My name is Umoya.
And I am Kim with Eman. Happy Juneteenth weekend Sunday.
Okay, and I am Darlene, and I echo what Kim just said. If you had a chance to celebrate, I hope it went well for you.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. We see people are still outside for Juneteenth, spreading the word.
Happy belated Juneteenth, everyone.
Yeah.
Happy belated.
And I see more and more folks, especially with the Lamert Park that we were able to witness through our colleagues down in LA. They had definitely crossing the line as far as getting the colors correct. Shout out to Chad Brown. I understand he gave almost 300 to 400 little flags out Saturday. Thursday. That was amazing. Yeah. I know, right?
There might have been some red, white, and blue out at Allensworth Juneteenth.
If we'd have had the little flags, to be able to give to people.
Right, next time.
Mm-hmm. We got to ask them where you got them from, because that's a lot. So
that is a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Got them in bulk somewhere. So we really, really appreciate that. Passing them out, that was amazing.
Love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm just checking our audio just to making sure that we are good to go on this end, everyone. So if you don't mind your patience, let's see. Okay, our audio is ready to go. All right, so I'll guess we'll move to the housekeeping stuff. Yes.
All right. Reparations Now, the documentary on Tubi TV. Go ahead and give it a watch this Juneteenth weekend. It was released, Juneteenth 2023. So that's had a couple year run there, but it is still available to view on Tubi.
Then we have the store where you can get all your merch. That's etmmediagroupstore.com. It's etmmediagroupstore.com. Get your latest merch, Reparations Now. What else we got there? We got
Lineage, Policy Over Party.
And we got, why am I forgetting 40 Acres and a Mule?
40 Acres and a Mule, yeah. Stop by the ETM merch store. Another way to support ETM efforts is by using our Amazon affiliate link. It should be available in today's show description. Just click that link before you do all of your Amazon shopping.
And also, just a reminder, in order for the bill, any bill, but we are definitely concerned with the reparations bill, that it takes 41 assembly members, 21 senators, and 1 governor to sign the bill into law. But just a reminder about the date 8/31/2024, we had the assembly votes and we had the senators' votes to get SB 1403 and SB 1331 to be placed on the governor's desk for his signature. But we were betrayed by the California Legislative Black Caucus. So just a reminder, we never want to forget the betrayal.
Never forget 8/31/2024. And this year, due to these betrayal developments, we are looking to oppose some of these bills. So we're going to need some of these votes to go the other way.
Yes. Say,
All
just
right.
say no.
Just say no.
Just
Just
say no.
say no.
Just
Dang.
say no.
Just
Speaking of
say no, man.
betrayal,
Yes, just say no. Wasn't that a thing going on in the 80s? The
Nancy,
drug
I really want to say
Nancy
Nancy
Reagan
Reagan with her stance against drugs.
and
this is your
drugs,
Just say
brain on
no.
drugs.
Yeah, yeah.
the
Just
crack
say no,
era.
as if it's a, yeah, as if it was just that easy. That's what it's,
Yeah,
it is not.
the crack
You know,
era. One of the other harms
harms
that was
our
perpetrated
community
against
has.
our community.
Hmm.
All right, Umoya, speaking of the betrayal,
Yes, so speaking of the betrayal, reparations now, part two. We are working on reparations now, part two, the betrayal, which the California Legislative Black Caucus is front and in full center in this story. So yeah, so we're hopefully looking to release it sometime in 20. I keep saying 2027, but I don't know why I'm thinking that far ahead. It's actually 2026. So be on the lookout for Reparations Now, the documentary part 2, The Betrayal.
okay. So
I thought you were going to
getting
show the clip of it, Umar. Did I misunderstand?
Yeah, we'll probably end up
Oh, at
at
the
the
end.
end.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
oh,
right.
oh, this is what I forgot. There you go, Umoya.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Queen Kim. I appreciate you, Kim. I appreciate you, darling. I don't think we say that enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
As
I don't think
people
we
in
Appreciate you,
say it
general.
enough to
family.
you. You are amazing. You are the glue to this whole thing. So we don't appreciate and say it enough about you.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody for viewing. We
Yeah. Hmm.
much appreciate fam. All right, here we go. Oil and Blood, and thank you, Darlene. Oil and Blood, The Color of Wealth in Tulsa, Oklahoma report, read series and review. We'll be starting this week. I think at 6. I don't know, 8, 9. I don't know. Be on the lookout for it, but we will be going live. It's going to be a live report, Oil and Blood. Check that out. Going live, but if you can't check it out live, then check it out on the replay.
All right. So we're ready to get into today's show.
Actually, we got I think one more thing, and then we probably should get to the call to action. What, later maybe, before we break
Yeah,
out?
yeah, later. Once we read through the bill, that's what we're here to do today is read through SB 437, authored by Senator Akila Weber, what I dubbed the Forever Study Bill. And we'll read through that, and then we'll give you the call to action. You can decide if you support it or oppose it after hearing the content.
Okay. Well, do you want to tell the people about the upcoming hearing this Tuesday, or you want to wait till the end?
Yeah, we can tell them about it now.
Okay.
SB 437 will be heard in Higher Education Committee on Tuesday, June 24th at 1:30 p.m. State Capitol Room. If you're in the Sacramento area, come down so you can voice your, hopefully, opposition to this bill.
Or not even if you're in the Sacramento area, just come by.
Come on down.
Come on down. We need bodies, specifically if you're in opposition.
Yeah, if you're in support,
So
stay home.
Oh, go ahead. Your support, stay home. That's funny. All right. SB 437, California State University, claim eligibility, genealogy, and descendancy. All right. I don't think there are too many amendments, but we're just going to read through it anyway. All right. Senate Bill number 437, introduced by Senator Weber Pearson. Co-author Senators Richardson and Smallwood Cuevas. Co-authors Assembly members Bonta, Bryan, El Hariri, Gibson, Jackson, McKenna, Sharp, Collins, and Wilson. I think that's all the CLBC members. Is that right, y'all? Or am I?
Yes, that you are
wrong
correct.
with that? I think all of them signed up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys notice how
Act 2
quiet
add chapter
Wilson,
4.8.
I'm sorry, Umari.
Go ahead.
But I was just wanting to say,
No, go ahead.
Notice how quiet. You know how quiet Wilson has been. You don't even hear a name anywhere. She's just very, very quiet.
She has been.
She's not even pushing her own ACA 6, which is to abolish slavery. But she didn't push it the last time. She's not even pushing it this time. So we'll see where it lands again. Sorry about that.
All right. No worries. Enact to add Chapter 4.8, commencing with Section 8308 to Division 1 of Title 2 of the Government Code relating to post-secondary education and making an appropriation thereof. Legislative Council's Digest, SB 437, as amended, Weber Pearson, California State University, claim eligibility, genealogy, and descendancy. Existing law establishes the California State University under the administration of the trustees of the California State University as one of the segments of public post-secondary education in the state. Existing law requires the trustees to control and expend all money appropriated for the support and maintenance of the university. Former law until January 1st, 2023, established a task force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans with a special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States. Task force. Former law required the task force among...
Sorry, just had to throw that in. Hyping up the task force anytime I get a chance.
Task force. Formula required the task force, among other things, to identify, compile, and synthesize the relevant corpus of evidentiary documentation of the institution of slavery that existed with the United States and the colonies, as specified, and to recommend the form of compensation that should be awarded, the instrumentalities through which it should be awarded, and who should be eligible for this compensation. All right, how much do we have? Okay, we got another page. All right, fam, I might need some help on the analysis, so I'll finish this one up. This bill would authorize the use of up to $6 million as specified for the purpose of enabling the California State University to conduct research in furtherance of the recommendations of the task force, thereby making an appropriation. The bill would authorize the California State University to partner with other universities or nonprofit institution in furtherance of the bill. The bill would require, before the start of each fiscal year, the California State University to consult with the California Legislative Black Caucus to propose a list of research components to be addressed to the appropriation as provided. All right, so it looks like, according to that line, that's supposedly, if this happens to pass, that the university is supposed to consult with the CLBC.
Every year.
Interesting. Every year. This bill would require the California State University to explore options to determine how to confirm an individual's status as a descent. All right, I want to just kind of highlight that. The bill would also require the California State University to establish a process for conducting or verifying genealogical research to confirm eligibility for reparative claims on or before the start of the 2029-30 academic year.
Please highlight that. Please highlight that.
Highlight.
Yes.
Yeah, so they will be meeting with them every year after year after year after year, potentially.
While we have nothing year after year after year after year, while we have nothing, if some of us are still even alive.
Yep. On or before the start of, okay. So if I'm understanding.
We went off.
No,
we're sorry.
And so we'll get back on. No, I'm just so I can understand. No, because I think we need to go through this. So we
let's get through it and then let's
just get through it. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna put my mic on mute.
Okay, we'll get through it. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. But just family, just if you could just remind me and us that we need to go through this part because
start from the top of that paragraph again and let's read through it.
All right, we're gonna roll all the way through it. Here we go. This bill would require the California State University to explore options to determine how to confirm an individual's status as a descendant. The bill would also require the California State University to establish a process for conducting or verifying genealogical research to confirm eligibility for reparative claims on or before the start of the 2029-2030 academic year, and to commence the work of establishing the process on or before the start of the 2026-2027 academic year. The bill would authorize the funding described above to be used to support student participation in support of this goal. The bill would require the California State University on or before October 1st of each year and until funding is exhausted to submit to the legislature and governor a report with a status update of pending research projects and any research projects that have been completed within the prior year. The bill would require the final report to include research findings, recommendations with options, and timelines for statewide implementation, including costs developed pursuant to these provisions. Vote majority, appropriations yes, fiscal committee yes, local program no. The people of the state of California do enact as follows. Section 1, Chapter 4.8, commencing with Section 8308, is added to Division 1 of the Title 2 of the Government Code to read, Chapter 4.8, claim eligibility based on genealogy and descendancy, 8308A, up to $6 million of the appropriation provided in Section 515.80 of the Budget Act of 2024, Chapters 2022, 35, 994, Stats 2024, may be used for the purpose of enabling the California State University to conduct research in furtherance of the recommendation of the task force to study and develop reparations proposals for African Americans with a special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States as established under former Section 8301.1 added by Section 1 of Chapter 319 of the statutes of 2020. The California State University may partner with other universities or nonprofit institutions in furtherance of this section. Highlights. Nonprofit. The California State University shall explore options to determine how to confirm an individual's status as a descendant. The California State University shall also establish a process for conducting or verifying genealogical research to confirm eligibility to reparative claims on or before the start of the 2029-2030 academic year and commence the work of establishing the process on or before the start of the 2026-2027 academic year. Funding for Subdivision A may be used to support student participation in support of this goal. Before the start of each fiscal year, the California State University shall consult with the California Legislative Black Caucus to propose a list of research components to be addressed through the appropriation in Subdivision A and each year until funding is exhausted. D. 1. Notwithstanding Section 1023.1.5, the California State University shall, on or before October 1st of each year and until funding from Subdivision A is exhausted, submit to the legislature and governor a report with a status of update of pending research projects and any research projects that have been completed within the prior year. The final report shall include research findings, recommendations, options, and timelines for statewide implementation, including costs developed pursuant to this section. A report submitted pursuant to this division shall be submitted in compliance with Section 9795. All right. There's a lot of repetitive information, and I'll tell you that one. But anyway, I guess let's start here.
Yeah, I think the biggest development from today's reading is that SB 437, we just read through the bill, or Yamoya did. Thank you for that, Yamoya. And the biggest development here is that they have added an end date to SB 437. As you can see right here, that would be on or before the start of the 2029-2030 academic year. So this could potentially drag on for 5 years.
As it was stated also, Kim, by our colleague Chris Lawson, that's longer than the original California Reparations Task Force that was for 2 years.
Twice as long and then some. Twice as long and then some.
Mm-hmm. For research, for something that is already in process throughout this great United States, genealogy, it is not a new science at all. Not at all. And what bothers me about the whole thing is that to determine how to do research. I mean, to me, it harkens back to the late 1900s, early late 1800s, early 1900s, when scientific racism was in play. We need to have something special for us. We're American human beings. You know what I'm saying? What has to be special? I understand it needs to be state mandated. That's not what I'm talking about. But you got to do something special. No, what you need to do is give us direct services, which is pursuant to the California Reparations Task Force final report. We need direct services. We don't need another study.
I concur.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was something also in here that I was trying to look at and I wanted to talk about. Where is it?
The
I know
nonprofit
it was
stuff.
in here. Yes.
Definitely the nonprofit. What is
All
your
right.
term, Kim? The nonprofit industrial complex.
I mean, it's not my term. It's standard
Well, you're the
Drifting.
first person. You're the first person I heard say it, so I'm giving it to you. You're the first person I've heard say it.
Nonprofit industrial
Industrial
complex.
complex. Mm-mm.
I'm trying to find it on here. My eyes are playing tricks on me. Okay, let's see. Profit. Where you at? Okay, here we go.
There it is. Mm-hmm.
All right, so the bill would authorize the California State University to partner with other universities or nonprofit institutions in furtherance of this bill.
So we wouldn't know anything about it. But it's supposed to be for our community, but we wouldn't have any clues to what's going on with it.
Oh, and that raises another question. I was wondering if, the public is going to have access to these research findings. They have
Doesn't sound like it.
Put in a report every year and consult with the CLBC, but is the public going to have access to any of this information?
It certainly didn't bring it up in this bill, so that is a great point, Kim.
Yeah, there just seems like a lot of information that is being handed off just between the CLBC and the universities. According to this bill,
they're definitely going to institutionalize our reparations in the CSU system. And I know we're not even reading over 518 today, which would establish the Slavery Bureau, but they want to institutionalize that in the Department of Justice.
So can we go back to the before we go there? I have another point I want to bring out. I actually have 2 points. Can we actually go back to the bill?
Okay.
I don't know where it is, but also maybe around the same place where they talk about the nonprofit industrial complex. They talk about student participation. So they're taking this money in, all those who were in college, you did one of those jobs, student jobs there. So they're doing that, which, making sure that there's student participation in this support. So they're going to be giving jobs to students, anybody, doesn't matter. And then it says they're going to have a final report somewhere. I don't know where you read that, but that irks me as well, because we have a great final report from the California Reparations Task Force. We have one already. We don't need another one.
The bill would require the final report to research findings, recommendations. Oh my gosh! Like this is what we're talking about when it comes to the harms for descendants. Like, we went through 2 years of this, developed an 1,100-page report telling the legislation and the community, we don't want to go through this. We don't want to go through these. We want to have guarantees of non-repetition. But they keep repeating the same thing over and over again.
Adding to the harms. And I asked ChatGPT if this was even necessary.
And what did Chat say?
Chat said SB 437 is not legally required for descendants of formerly enslaved persons in the U.S. to determine their lineage.
No.
And it says why SB 437 is not strictly necessary for lineage research. And number one is because genealogy is already possible, is what
It's already possible. And I looked it up, Kim. The earliest, and I don't have my notes in front of me, so don't quote me, but the earliest genealogical research was done in 1771 in New England. That was the earliest one before it became an actual science. So look how far they've been doing genealogy, and the fact that you need to research and determine how Freeman can trace, we already know.
exactly.
We already know. I'm just
Been here longer
disappointed.
than anybody else.
Anybody,
Exactly.
scientific racism. Y'all so unique and exotic. We can't figure out how to trace your lineage. You know what I'm saying? So stop. So we need direct
Absolutely.
action. I'm just
All right, we
done with
ready
these
to move
people.
on to the analysis, or are we?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's take a
All
look
right,
at what
let's
the
go.
So,
analysis.
do we have any more points, or
No,
you got
I
more,
have
or
my
no?
points. Oh, and one other
Okay.
thing I do want to say, and then we could go about the Budget Act of
Got it.
2024, and they say the bill would authorize the use of up to 6 million as specified, but also they keep saying that you can go back. So I could just see them keep going back until that initial $12 million is spent on this unnecessary research,
Mm,
while descendants do not have any direct services, direct
Right. They'll
action.
just figure out another reason
Another
to kick it
way,
down the road, the
yeah.
$6 million scam.
And some of us may not even be here, you
Well, we
know.
don't want to speak that
mm,
into the
No, but it
universe
is the
of existence.
reality. It's the reality, Kim. It's the reality.
It
It's
is.
reality.
It is.
yeah, when I was in Fresno, at a booth, I was talking to some of our senior community, and
Hmm.
saying that some of us advocates are definitely championing for the seniors. If there is a check cut, and when a check is cut, that they should definitely be the first ones to get it. And that kind of sparked more interest when I told them that. So
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
Darlene, you're
yeah.
definitely true.
I mean, us Jim Crow survivors, we've been here the longest. It's time to stop the madness.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's absolutely true.
stop
Absolutely.
it. hmm So, okay. So
All
this
right.
was
So I
amended on
don't know if
523. I'll start,
yes. All right, thank you.
but we don't need
Let
to
me
go
know if you
through.
can see the screen, or do I
No,
need to
no, I
blow it
got it.
up,
I
or are
have
we
it
good
pulled
here?
up large on my side, you more. So I don't know if Kim needs to
Wonderful.
have it
Okay,
enlarged.
so as you're reading, I'll try to scroll as you're reading.
Okay, but we don't
All
need
right.
to read the members of the committee, though, do we?
All right. Yeah. What?
Yeah,
Nah.
don't we
Or
want to know
maybe
who
we
these
do.
people
I
are?
mean,
We do.
well, let's see here.
Senate
Actually,
rule.
yeah, we probably should read it just to see who voted on this thing and didn't. I think
Okay,
that'd be good.
but you want to go down to the last one, the Senate Appropriations Committee.
Well, the last one was the floor, or wasn't it? No.
No,
Which one was that?
523. That's the latest amendments. I mean, the
Okay.
latest analysis.
All right.
Okay, the Senate.
Is this?
You just
Wait
scroll
a
past
minute.
them.
Oh, those are the only. I mean, this is the. I mean, the only votes I have, at least on the analysis, is at the top. So, is there anything else I'm missing? Senate Appropriations Committee, Judiciary, Education. I mean, this is on what I have. So, if you have
Okay,
something
let's
different,
look at
Darlene, let me know.
appropriations. They're the ones
On
dealing
yours.
with the money. So we have I from Caballero, Cabaldon, Grayson, Richardson, Wahab, and No from Seriarto. No vote recorded. Dolly.
Your girl, your best friend, Kim. Your best friend.
She must not have been there that day if she didn't vote no.
Or that's what she's always not there. She's always not
I
there.
know, right?
Yeah.
Always MIA.
Yeah,
And
always.
Sayarto, man. Sayarto, yeah, he's definitely a no vote most of the time, so not surprised right there. But we do have Richardson. She is part of the CLBC,
She
I
is.
should say.
Yes. So those are the crew that pushed this through.
And just to note, I think all the ayes, I believe they're all Democrats too. And then Ciara chose a Republican. And is it Dale or Dolly?
Dolly, Dale, I don't know.
I thought it was
So
Dally.
Dally.
Dally, Dilly
Hmm.
Dally,
Ran
um,
through the alley.
up in Cali. Ciardo and Dally they're Republicans,
Yeah.
if I'm correct. Yeah. All right. So all right, ma'am. If you'd like to do your
Yeah.
thing, darling.
Okay. All right. Subject: California State University claim eligibility, genealogy, and descendancy. Source: Arthur. Digest: This bill authorized up to $6 million of funds appropriated in the 2024 Budget Act for purposes of enabling the California State University (CSU) to conduct research to support the recommendations of the task force to study and develop reparation proposal for African Americans, with a special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States task force. It also requires that the CSU annually submit a report to the legislator and governor on pending and completed research projects, along with a final report that includes recommendations for statewide implementation. Analysis. Umoya. Existing law. 1. Establishes the CSU under the administration of the trustees of the CSU as one of the segments of public post-secondary education in the state Education Code 66600. 2. Requires the CSU statewide Central Office of Advancement of Black Excellence housed at Sacramento State manage the state's California Black Serving Institution Program designation, EC 66076.3. 3. Authorize the trustees to establish an African American Political and Economic Institute at CSU Dominguez Hill and require CSU Dominguez Hill to rename the Institute of Mervyn M. Darnley African American Political and Economic Institute. 4. Established until July 1, 2023, the task force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans with special considerations for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States task force. 5. Require the task force, among other things, to identify, compile, and synthesize the relevant corpus of evidentiary documentation of the institution of slavery that existed within the United States and the colonies as specified, to recommend the form of compensation that should be awarded, the instrumentalities through which it should be awarded, and who should be eligible for this compensation. 6. States that the state of California recognizes and accepts responsibility for all the harms committed by the state in connection with chattel slavery and its enduring legacy, issues an apology from the state of California for perpetrating the harms of African Americans faced through state and private action, and requires the plaque memorializing the apology to be installed in the state capitol. Government Code 8301.2. Okay. This bill, one, authorizes, this is really repetitive. This bill authorizes up to $6 million of funds appropriate pursuant to the 2024 Budget Act for purposes of enabling CSU to conduct research in furtherance of the task force recommendation, and it authorizes CSU to partner with other universities or nonprofit institutes for the purpose of conducting this research. 2. Requires the CSU to explore options for confirming an individual's descendant status and establish a process for conducting or verifying genealogical research to confirm eligibility for reparative claims, and commence the works of establishing the process on or before the start of the 2026-27 academic year. It also authorizes funds to support student participation in support of this goal. 3. Requires prior to the start of each fiscal year, the CSU consulting with the California Legislative Black Caucus to propose a list of research components to address through the appropriation in each year until funding is exhausted. 4. requires CSU by October 1 of each year and until funding is exhausted to submit to the legislative and the governor a report with a status update of pending research projects and research projects that have been completed within the prior year. 5. Requires CSU to submit a final report that includes its research findings, recommendations with options and timelines for statewide implementation, including costs developed according to the bill's provision. You got it, Kim?
Yes. So the research. So wait, can we go back to that last sentence really quick, more? And I know we're supposed to be talking about, but just to highlight, okay, 5 before the comment, to submit a final report that includes its research findings. So nothing is going to happen until after the final report.
And they are using the term research. So, and also, if you even go back to number 4, requires CSU by October 1 of each year and until funding is exhausted. So what are you saying? They're taking that additional 6? That's how it reads to me. Research, people do research for years.
Never-ending research. Okay, let's continue with the comments. We are reading the analysis that came from the Senate Appropriations. Comments. Need for the bill. According to the author, Senate Bill SB 437 would require the California State University to independently research and report on scientific methodologies for determining an individual's genealogical footprint to verify their status as a descendant of an enslaved person in the United States. This bill is essential for successful implementation of the California Reparations Task Force final recommendations. To establish eligibility for recommendations outlined by the task force, we must first have a clear and accurate method to identify descendants of American chattel slavery. Many African Americans face significant challenges in tracing their lineage due to incomplete records, forced family separations, and the systemic erasure of their histories. By tasking California State University with determining the best methods for establishing lineage, this bill would provide Black Californians with access to reliable state-supported genealogical research that might otherwise be costly or difficult to obtain. Task Force, the legislator enacted AB 3121, Weber Chapter 319.
I'm sorry, Kim. Kim, just real quick. Sorry. I want to make note of that, the last sentence, but I'm sorry. Please go forth.
You want to go make a blue note so we have a mental?
Well, can you scroll the screen down more? So
yeah.
So we have.
I know, right? This one, the costly or difficult to obtain. I want to highlight that one so we can talk about it. But
and it's so untrue, though.
I mean, we already know the Mormon Church offers free genealogical services. Who they trying to fool? But okay.
And they act like we need to go back to 1776. You know what I'm saying? And we don't.
Right.
So
sorry to cut your wisdom, Kim.
Oh, no worries. Task Force. The legislature enacted AB 3121 Weber, Chapter 319, Statutes of 2020, establishing the first in the nation task force to investigate options for providing reparations to African Americans, and particularly the descendants of enslaved persons, in recognition of California's role in accommodating and facilitating slavery and the continuation of racist institutions post-abolition. AB 3121 also required the task force to recommend appropriate ways to educate the public of its findings, recommend appropriate remedies, and submit a report of its work. The task force submitted its final 74-page report to the legislature on June 2029.
I'm confused, Kim. I'm confused.
I know.
Is this a separate report they gave to the legislature, but they're saying final?
Does that say 74-page report?
Yeah. So did they get a truncated version, or
maybe? I don't know.
Go from 1100 to 74. I mean, are we reading or are we just?
There must have been a second one because they couldn't be talking about the final report.
Well, even the sentence before and submit a report, it doesn't even say final report of its work. So, but that's just, the
Maybe
task
they're
force
talking about the remedies part. Maybe that.
maybe.
I'm assuming.
Okay,
It
I
says
don't know.
recommend
But anyway, I'm
appropriate
sorry. Go
remedies
ahead.
and submit a report of its work. The task force submitted its 74-page report to the legislature on June 29, 2023. We were there on June 29, 2023. We
Yeah,
were there.
you got a hard
I
copy,
got it. No,
Darlene,
I
of an
did not. Well,
1100
yeah,
page book.
yeah, I did. And the legislators, they
Yeah.
remember they received those beautiful brown books, and I did, the soft quote unquote hard copy.
Okay,
But
so it
all
looks
the
like the
legislators got
legislature
that beautiful brown book with their names on it. So this is
well,
a
the
little
task
confusing.
force members and maybe CLBC, but I don't know about all the legislatures.
Well, all the ones that
According
were
to this, they
there,
got a 74-page report.
all those that were there did, Kim.
I would like to see the 74-page report. Okay, let's continue. The task force submitted its final 74-page report to the legislature on June 29, 2023. The final report summarizes the harms caused by slavery and the lingering negative effects of the institution of slavery on descendants of persons enslaved in the U.S., more broadly on living African Americans and on society in California. The report includes task force recommendations for reparations, taking into account one, how any form of compensation to African Americans with a special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the U.S. should be calculated. Two, what form of compensation should be awarded through what instrumentalities and who should be eligible for such compensation. And three, whether any other forms of rehabilitation or restitution to African descendants are warranted and what forms and scope those measures should take. African descendants. Okay. CSU responsible for research, recommendations, and annual reporting. This bill seeks to advance task force recommendations by identifying CSU as the entity to investigate and develop ways to confirm an individual's descendant status. Specifically, it requires CSU to establish a framework for conducting genealogical research that can be used to verify eligibility for reparative claims. The money allocated by this measure is to support CSU in achieving these research objects and developing recommendations based on that research. The CSU must annually consult with the California Legislative Black Caucus on research components and annually report to the legislature and governor until the funding is exhausted. This is in addition to providing a final report, including its findings and recommendations for statewide implementation. All right.
You want me to pick up the rest, or you good?
I'll finish this one out. Why CSU and CSU systems consist of 23 universities and roughly 28,000 full-time and part-time faculty. It is nation's largest and most diverse public university system. As reported by CSU, it educates the most ethnically, economically, and academically diverse student bodies in the country. The CSU also houses the Central House for the Advancement of Black Student Success at Sacramento State, which is focused on addressing the barriers of Black student success, and the Mervyn Dimely African American Political Economic Institute at CSU Dominguez Hills. The institute dedicates itself to exploring and documenting the professional lives and achievements of African American leaders and examines the impact of their public policy efforts on the political and economic development of African Americans and other disadvantaged communities. These centers demonstrate CSU's commitment to the African American and Black community. Lastly, CSU promotes its capacity to utilize classrooms-based knowledge for problem solving through applied research to address states' needs, Having CSU conduct research and develop applicable solutions seems to fall within the scope of practice. Presumably, all of these factors are likely to have influence and decision to select CSU for implementing the provisions in this measure. The bill additionally allows CSUs to collaborate with other universities or nonprofit institutions in conducting its research. Okay. You can finish off the fiscal effects, Yamoya.
I'll take it. Fiscal
Alrighty.
effect, appropriations, yes. Fiscal committee, yes. Local, no. According to the Senate Appropriations Committee and analysis, this bill would have the following fiscal impact. Control Section 15.80 of the 2024 Budget Act allows the Director of Finance to augment one or more items in this act by no more than $12 million from the general fund for implementation of reparations legislation that is enacted into law. This bill would authorize up to $6 million of those funds to be used for the purposes specified in the bill. While the CSU indicates that the overall cost for participating campuses is unknown, it anticipates that amount of $6 million would be sufficient. And now we have all these folks that are for it.
You want to read
these
folks?
names?
Yeah, we should probably read
Okay. Support AAPI Force, Alliance San Diego, Black Californians United for Early Care and Education, Black Equity Collective, Black Women for Wellness Action Project, California Black Power Network, California Reparations Task Force. I got a question about that, but let's come back to that.
Is that unanimous support?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, can they say that when you don't have everybody? But anyway, okay, let's finish. California Hawaii State Conference of the NAACP, Catalyst California, Courage California, Equal Justice Society, Greater Los Angeles African American Chambers of Congress, Greater Sacramento Urban League, Live Free California, San Francisco Public Defender, Western Center on Law and Poverty, Where's My Land for Individuals, Opposition, Verified 2325, California Lines of Youth and Community Justice, Coalition for a Just and Equitable California, Amanda Mass Media Group, Linus Equity and Advancement Project, and 13 individuals.
Yeah, so the support looks like all the nonprofits that will probably have their hand in the $6 million scam cookie jar.
Yeah, I was telling some folks, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Or no?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. So yesterday when I was in Fresno, and I was trying to explain to people that since CJEC's, been in this process of advocating, for the community, that for some reason they seem to treat us like a stepchild. And the reason why they keep treating us like a stepchild is because we're literally trying to do things for the community, like literally trying to put some money into the community's pockets by going through the governmental legislative process. So that's just my 2 cents in my opinion, but it is kind of amazing, Kim, as you mentioned, and Darlene, how many of these individuals that are in support, comparatively speaking, how many are opposing this bill.
And I don't think this is the correct list for the opposition, because this is the one that got mixed up when they were rejecting some because we didn't quote unquote have a signature. Is this the one, Kim? I don't know, because I know that Arc Bay Area submitted theirs.
Arc Bay Area didn't make the list, but
we didn't make the list.
I thought you said that because I didn't make the list initially either, or ETM didn't make the list initially either for the reasons that you stated with the signatures. But somebody followed up with the email and say, hey, if you want to oppose, we've noticed that you've opposed on other committees. If you want to oppose this one too, send it in. So I sent it in. Didn't you get one of those emails
I
as
did,
well?
but it was after the fact. Because remember, I told you that I had got locked out of Art Bay Area's email, and I had to create a new password. And once I created that new password, I saw that same email that you received, Kim. And so I immediately sent it in. But like we say, you can always submit opposition or support. If you miss the cutoff date, they still have to have it. They still have it on record. It just won't be in print.
And something else to note, if you'll just scroll up a little bit, Yamoya, the support and the
Keep going.
opposition. No, this is good. 4 individuals in support and 13 individuals. So there's more individuals that opposed this than supported it, because they do have all the, industrial nonprofit complex support. But individually, I don't think people are supporting this, or it doesn't look like it according to this.
All right. I guess, Darlene, you want to
continue
with the arguments in support?
Arguments in support. According to the letter of support submitted to this committee from the Greater Sacramento Urban League, California has taken significant steps towards addressing historical injustices through the work of the Reparations Task Force. Still, a critical component of any reparative initiative is ensuring that eligibility is clear, accessible, and based on rigorous and standardized process. SB 437 provides a necessary framework to ensure that individuals who are descendants of enslaved persons can access the benefits and opportunities designed to address systemic inequalities. The group further argues that the bill builds on the finding of AB 3121, which highlighted persistent disparities in economic, health, and educational outcomes for Black Californians. By requiring CSU to research and develop genealogical verification process, SB 437 strengthens California's commitment to justice and ensures that reparative programs are implemented with integrity and clarity. Well, what a joke.
I'll do the opposition. Can I do the opposition? Any chance I get to read opposition on
Go
this?
ahead, Kim. Just take my thunder.
Arguments and opposition.
Opposition. Is that the only part? How come opposition is so short? And then, anyway, go ahead, Kim.
Let's see what it says. Numerous individuals argue in their opposition letter SB 437 would waste millions of taxpayer dollars on an unnecessary study of genealogy with no start date and no end date to the research study. To make matters worse, the study would be conducted by unnamed academics and unaccountable nonprofit organizations. California Reparations Task Force, which already spent 2 years researching and studying issues, including genealogy, made it clear we don't need to study genealogy. We need to do genealogy.
Yes.
Boom. All right.
Short and to the point. So you can see that since then here they have added an end date.
But even with the end date, because they even say with the start date, it's either going to be 2026 or 2027. If they push it to 27 and then you get still, we're talking 5 years. They can sugarcoat it and say it's 3 years if they want to. But we did the math. And can we go back to where it says the task reports in that 74-page that was given out? Can we go back to that? I just figured out where the problem is. I figured it out.
Oh, okay. The 74-page report.
Yeah. Okay. Where it says, the task force submitted its final 74-page report to the legislation on June 29th. Okay. It wasn't a what we think is the final report. What they did hand out was the executive summary.
Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it is 74 pages. I have it right here in my hand.
All right, I remember getting that one on the day of too. So
right. So that's the it's actually, they should have said executive summary.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. So I think we kind of already went through and highlighted what we feel like are discrepancies with SB 437. But I mean, Darlene and Kim, if there's anything you guys would like to address. Um,
Oh, I
Well,
would
maybe we
like
should
to
address
address.
this actually. Since we're on it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kim, darling.
I would like to address, you're right where I want to talk about why
yeah.
CSU. I mean, that's
Okay.
just some
Me
crap.
too.
27 universities and roughly 28,000 full-time, part-time faculty. It's just going to get lost in the melee. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's intentional. And then they talk about this diverse school and the other communities and all this. Well, I don't, we want to be centrally focused on Black American freemen. And if you can't do it, they're diverse student bodies. So you're gonna get any student, you know, getting a student job on the campus. What do they know about genealogy? They just know they sign up for a work program.
Right.
Yeah,
And they don't even
mm-mm,
have the curriculum for
mm-mm,
genealogy. So it's not like
mm-mm.
you're going to the, genealogy studies department to work on this research. They're going to have to, recreate the wheel basically when genealogy is already
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
already being done. So that's what I
Now,
was going to
also,
say too. And on the CSU, just that it sounds like they've made a determination that it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be in part Sac State, and
And
then
Domingo
other
Hills.
portions is Dominguez Hills. Is that what you guys
Mm-hmm.
got? If you jump back up to 3 and 4 at the top, is where they talked about that.
Well, it's
It
right here
sounds
as
like
well.
they had
Mm-hmm.
two different roles.
let's see. Keep going. Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Wait, here.
And
What is it?
also, I want to get back to this
Oh,
plaque that we don't know where it
okay. Here we
is.
go.
Yeah.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
three
No,
and
thank
four
you.
right
I wanted
here.
to highlight
Yeah.
that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 3. Authorized the trustees to establish an African American political and economic institution at CSU Dominguez Hills and required CSU Dominguez Hills to rename the institute the Mervyn M. Dimely African American Political and Economic Institute. So there's that. And then number 2 says requires the CSU statewide central office for advancement of Black excellence housed at Sac State manage the state's California Black Serving Institutions program designation.
But what does that mean, though? I don't even understand what that means. Why are they even mentioning it? Because
Yeah.
it's clearly number 3. They're housing something at Dominguez Hill, but what are they requiring? I mean, what does that do?
Right. And what does CSU, I mean,
What does
Sac State
it
do?
have to do
Yeah.
with what?
Right.
What is it? So to me, that's not clear. But if someone can clarify that for me,
Yeah, maybe
you
that's
know,
a question we need to ask.
yeah. hmm But it's clearly important to Dominguez here. That's clear.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, and even changing the name to Mervyn Donnelly, um,
Okay.
yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
So if
If
you
I
wanted
can.
to talk about the plaque.
Y- yes, the plaque. Before we go to the plaque, though, I just really wanted to mention this, and it's funny. Kim and I, we actually. I'll put up the overlay. Anyway, so it says the final report summarizes the harms caused by slavery and the lingering negative effects of institutional slavery on descendants of persons enslaved in the United States. Okay, here's this thing. More broadly on living African Americans and on society in California. Now, maybe I'm being a little sensitive to certain words, but when these words come up like more broadly, um, more expansion of certain stuff, this is the time that I start questioning, like, what do you mean more broadly? Are we talking about all African Americans,
hmm hmm
or considered African Americans, or are we talking about, descendants? Like, what are we particularly supposed to talk? Maybe a little
No.
sensitive
You're
in this
absolutely correct,
space, but
because African American, we
right.
know if we don't delineate, that could be anybody. You know what I'm saying? My niece's boyfriend considers himself African American, but he is African and he is American. So I can't argue with that. That's how he
Mm,
designated himself. But when I talk about who I am, that's why we have to delineate and say American Freeman, or it's just going to get confusing, you know.
Speaking of delineation, there is some light at this legislative tunnel at the end of it. SB 515, authored by Senator Richardson, is a delineation bill that will delineate data at the county and city level. So that is something that we are pushing for further delineation. They have already done that with state employees, and now we're looking to have it done at the county and city level. So SB 515 is a bill to support that we are in support of.
And that's being heard, Kim, if we're not mistaken, on the 2nd of July.
On the 2nd.
And we'll have that information closer to the time.
Yes.
All right. And so speaking of bills, SB 518, which we all are following the Bureau bill for descendants, is currently postponed right now. So when that does come up during a hearing, we'll probably most likely be reading that bill. So I want to give everybody a heads up on that too.
Isn't there a date on that, Darlene?
You know what? I want to say the 1st, but don't quote me. Because I was saying, oh my God, that means the 24th. Do I want to back to back the 1st and the 2nd? You know what I'm saying? So, and it's funny because if I go to all 3 hearings, that's 6 hours. I could have drove down to LA. You know what I'm saying? Because it's an hour both way for me. So I mean that's 6 hours. I could have drove down to LA.
Wow.
Well, thank you for your commitment to this.
I haven't quite, my goal was to do the 24th, of course, to be in person for opposition for SB 437. And I wanted to be there on the 2nd to support SB 515. But now the SB 518 was kind of thrown in there, and because it was postponed. And now they have a potential date of the 1st, and I'm like, oof, so I just gotta think.
Yeah, we can only do what we can.
We can only do what we can. Yeah.
All right. So should we talk about this plaque?
Yes, let's talk about this plaque.
Yes, we did a little plaque recon on Juneteenth when we were at the Capitol.
Oh, where's the apology plaque? And I understand, Kim, and let's not quote this because I actually haven't seen it in print, but I understand it cost up to $500K for the plaque. That's what I heard. I have not seen that in print.
Well, Darlene, you would actually be correct because we haven't read the budget bill yet because we're still doing, background work analysis. But yes, it is a line item in the budget bill for 2025. Oh, it is?
Okay.
Yeah, you are correct. $500K. So yeah.
Yeah. On so, you put together a little video, right? It's out on ETM Media Group where people can learn more about this plaque in our excursion.
Yeah. So as you can see on the screen here, it says, "Where's the apology plaque?" So Kim and I were being the investigators. I keep forgetting the investigator, the British guy who used to always go around investigating with the hat.
Sherlock? No.
Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, Sherlock.
Yeah, you're right. Sherlock. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes.
It kind of reminds me, like, because you're holding these magnifying glass. It reminds me of that. Yeah. So that's great work. Did you do that on your? I like that. I mean, your creativity is off the chain.
I try my best.
So that's just one hand and you flipped it, right? That's one hand, and then you duplicated it and you flipped it to face each other.
That's correct.
Okay.
See, Darlene got it.
I'm getting it. I just can't seem to get it on paper, but I understand it. I just can't do it. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely check that out.
Yeah, and then this disagreement with, at least with Kim and I don't know how you feel, Maureen, but I didn't stand up in opposition when we were at the hearing for the apology, but I did not go up in support, and it was a whole bunch of us there, and I did not. I said I don't agree with the apology, but that's me.
Mm.
So, but some people say it's a way of them admitting it. But but if they were to follow the recommendations of the task force in Chapter 16, they should have had it a public. But they did it in secret. Remember, they had that little signing thing with a couple of the CLBC members. They should have actually the apology should be housed in the CAFA, which was betrayed because it didn't even get to the floor. And it should be with the CAFA office. It should have been a place where descendants can come and share their stories. And the apology should be reached out from the highest level of government in California, not done in secrecy. So therefore, I did not, and I didn't openly oppose when we were there, but I did not support it either. And I still don't.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was important to get a guilty plea in writing, you know.
But for what, Kim? They're still not doing anything.
They're still not doing anything. So, based on your assessment, now would the plaque go outside the DOJ if that's where the slavery descendant bureau or whatever we're calling it?
Well, it was never. We never asked for it to go in the DOJ. We asked for a standalone.
Okay, so now that we've read through the bill and the analysis, audience, you can make your decision on whether you are in support or opposition to SB 437. CJEC, Coalition for a Just and Equitable California, does have a call to action out right now, and you can find that on their Twitter page. CJEC, is it CJEC official? Is the Twitter, but CJEC, just type in CJEC, you should be able to find them, or there's a QR code right there that you can scan to get that information. And also, I am gonna go ahead and put in the actual link to the call to action. There we go, right there. No on 437, that bit.ly link that just went in, you can just click on that. It takes a couple of clicks and you can send your opposition to everybody that will be hearing and deciding whether this bill moves forward on Tuesday the 24th at the Higher Education Committee.
Or not move forward or not move forward.
Move forward or not. So there you go. There's that. June 24th.
All right, Kim, can you, I want to briefly highlight. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I just, like I said, every chance I get to oppose.
The call to action. Understandable. So, Chris Lawson of CJEC wrote an opinion piece. It was an excellent opinion piece. We're not going to read it here, but I recommend, I actually put the link in the chat. Please check this article out. He did an excellent job in summarizing what's happening right now with, in particular, SB 437 and 518. So definitely go check that out and give it a read. It's an excellent opinion piece. So shout out to Brother Chris for doing it.
Yes. Shout
out. That's with the Los Angeles Sentinel.
Mm-hmm. Shout out, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
One of the hardest working men in
stop sharing my screen. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right. So we got the call to action going on. We got that. And I think that's a wrap. Yes.
I think so.
If we read through the analysis and the actual bill itself.
Mm-hmm.
And man, a lot going on. And Kim, do you mind putting up the hearing that's coming up on Tuesday? And then we'll get out of here. All right, this Tuesday, SB number 437, who's authored by Weber Pearson. It's going to be held once again June 24th, 2025 at 1:30 in the Higher Education Committee. So if you can't make it to the state capitol, then we will most likely, God willing, universe willing, that we will be live streaming here. So
Yes, and
please
again, that
tap into
is,
there.
just to recap, that is the $6 million research study bill with the end date of 2029-30 academic school year.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go through some of these comments
Comments.
here because that's our tradition here. All right. Beauty defined. Do you have to work with the Congressional Black Caucus? Question mark. Not sure what that means. Do you have to work with the Congressional Black Caucus?
I mean, I think probably my read on this is, do we have to work with them to get legislation passed? And the answer is no,
No.
no, we
Hmm.
don't.
No.
But there are certain allegiances,
Right.
let's say, that.
And that allegiance needs to be broken when they do not have our community's best
Right,
interest at heart.
right. In
Yeah.
fact, we CJEC was instrumental in helping to author a bill, the Bill of Saley 1315, which would have been a straightforward stand up an agency for genealogy, but Saley moved on to a new job under the Trump administration as an attorney. So we lost him as an author, and so that bill is currently sitting dormant with no author.
And we also want to state that the Coalition for Just and Equitable California is nonpartisan. So that definitely answers the question.
Right, because Bill
Right.
Saley was
Yeah.
a Republican,
Yeah.
Republican Assembly member.
Mhm.
Great question. All right, Reps. What's up, Reps? How you doing? Happily. Hey, family. Happy belated Juneteenth. Well, happy
Happy
belated Juneteenth
Juneteenth
Happy
to you
belated
too.
weekend.
Juneteenth.
It's Juneteenth month over here.
Absolutely. Yes, everybody. Hit them likes. Smash that like button. Get them likes up. It's free. Appreciate it. Great points panel.
Thank
Well, we
you.
try our best.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe. Good question. I wish there was a way to Heisman, the CLBC, they upkeep the status quo. All right. Okay, exactly. Stable, reliable genealogy is already here. Just seems like they are more interested in delay, deny tactics.
Yeah.
I mean, well, there is a way to Heisman them with the 2026 primary coming up. Just, what needs to be done, family.
Wow, look at
Absolutely.
this one. She traced back to the 1600s. Yay.
Mrs. Queen Wade in the building.
Mhm. Mhm.
Back to the
1600.
1600s. How you
1600s.
doing, man?
Wow. Wow, amazing.
All right, let's see here. Finally catching live. Peace, family. Queen Yasmin.
Queen.
EPA in the building. What's up, Queen? All right, just going through this. Ease Axe, what's up, family?
Greetings, greetings.
Glad you came through, as usual. Appreciate you. All right. Wade is the quintessential foundational Black American.
Absolutely.
FBA.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
All right. Okay. She's. Yes. Okay. SB 515. Okay. Yeah. So
Yes,
that
yes,
is
yes.
the delineation bill.
Delineation. Mhm.
All right. And yes, when you have a chance, go check out Chris Larson's opinion piece and support the call to action. So that's it, family. That is a wrap for today's show. This is our fourth Road to Reparations show. And don't know how many more we're going to have this year. We've actually been quite busy. Even though the bills that we thought were going to be at least referred didn't get referred to, we still keep busy here. So thanks once again, Kim. And
Yeah,
Darlene,
maybe we should back for a
you
show
know.
next week. Talk about 518,
We
so everybody has an
might-
understanding of that and the analysis that goes with it.
There might be a part 5 coming soon to a mobile device or computer device, not a theater
near you, Hart, near you,
but near you, however you're gonna get it. Roku, I don't know. We might be on Roku or something like that. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, all right, family. Darlene, Kim, you want to say something before we get out of here? Wrap.
I just want to appreciate everybody who's spent part of their mornings with us. Thank you very much. We're here for you, and we're here for our Black American descendant community.
Agreed. And again, happy Juneteenth weekend. Hope that you're spending time with family and our foundational family, and really just appreciating the true meaning of Juneteenth and what it stands for.
Wonderful. All right, family. Well, on that note, as always, take care of yourself, your family, your loved ones, and we will see you next time. We are out. Peace, reparations, and lineage-based reparations. And by the way, you guys are getting a sneak peek to the reparations part 2, the documentary. All right,
The Betrayal.
Yes, The Betrayal. We're actually going to be releasing it officially, I guess, sometime. I don't know, maybe next week. But anyway, you guys are going to get the sneak peek. So here we go. All right, we'll see y'all next time. We out. Peace and reparations.
Please move items 71 and 72 to the inactive file.
I just want to know, what did you know about bills not being brought to the floor? There were 2 critical reparations bills, Senate Bill 1403 and Senate Bill 13.
Forgive me, because there's over 1,000. I'm not very good at the numeric, but
it's gonna. The analysis said it's only a couple $1 million to stand it up. And his response was, "We want to do it in a different way. We don't want to do it through creating a whole new bureau. We want to do it through the UC system."
So this is Assemblyman Mr. Bryan. He's mad I brought up the reparations vote. So he's preventing me from speaking. And he's trying to block my access to it.
Madam Speaker, I ask that we take up file item 71, SB 1331.
If you decide to start your family tree even without the DNA, 8 or 9 times out of 10, you're going to find your family.
A great number of African Americans can trace their lineage to the period of enslavement.
Lemert was developed by Walter H. Lemert, and in his designing this area, he actually had covenants to where they would not sell to black people.
I supported the bill all session.
Then bring the bill.
Will you vote?
COBC, can you give them a grade 1 to 10?
This current crop, as of now, it's a negative.
Vote for the bill, Mr.
Bring the bill.
Will you vote for the bill?
Bring it up.
Will you vote for reparations?
Bring it up.
I would love it.
Bring it up.
Let's vote for reparations
Bring
together.
It's a spirit of anti-blackness, and we must call it out. And so I'm going to call out on August 31st, 2024, that the California Legislative Black Caucus, the majority of them, and the governor allowed the enemy to use them to try to keep us down and keep us as bottom-class citizens.
Just think that all the other members have at least about 10 years left. So we're not going anywhere.
I've heard it's slightly changed, and some of the advocates who were part of the coalition last go around are now expressing concerns of whether or not they'll still be able to stand behind it if those changes are not corrected.
In so many years, it will hardly be no black folks left in California. We love y'all, we thank y'all, and we demanding reparations right now.
First of all, America, from the evidence that they gave us, you're guilty.
What happened on August 31st, 2024 was a betrayal.
We know that if we don't have our hand in this process as much as we possibly can, it can be corrupted from the outside. So in terms of our role isn't done until they're issuing the checks for our reparations.
The time for reparations is now.
Yeah. Right now. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want?